From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, August 31st. Last day of the month, and it is the best weather day of the week. Just a beautiful start, and it's going to stay a beautiful day today. A lot of sunshine, low humidity, below normal temperatures. Highs are going to top out in the low 80s, so if you can, get outside and enjoy it. Maybe choose a place for dinner outside tonight. And a man is hurt after being shot on the near southeast side. IMPD initially responded to a crash on Laurel Street just after midnight, but no one was in the crashed car. Soon after, officers found a man shot with non-life-threatening injuries at a nearby apartment complex. A few minutes after that, officers got reports of shots fired at the intersection of Olive and Prospect Streets in Fountain Square. Police think all three locations are connected. Right now, there's no word on who shot the man or why. And this morning, we're waiting to hear from state police about a search that could be connected to the Delphi murder investigation. Our partners, the Murder Sheet podcast, shared photos of divers in the Wabash River near the Nickel Plate Bridges in Miami County last night. You can find those photos on wishtv.com with this story. Now, the podcast also reports that the search is connected to Keegan Kline. We've reported on him extensively. Kline is facing 30 child porn-related charges for using the Anthony Shots social media account to get sexual images and videos of young girls. Police say the account may also be linked to the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German that happened in Delphi in 2017. Unsealed court records show state police had court permission earlier this month to take Kline out of the Miami County Jail, and the Murder Sheet reports it was for the river search. State police haven't publicly commented on the search. The suspected shooter, accused of killing a soldier from the Netherlands and wounding two others in Indianapolis, is in jail this morning. Police arrested Shamar Duncan. The 22-year-old faces murder charges. The shooting happened early Saturday outside the downtown hotel where the soldiers were staying. Simi Poetsima died. Investigators say witnesses gave them video that helped the case. IMPD says Duncan will stay in jail as the prosecutor's office reviews the evidence. The defense minister in the Netherlands says she will wait to comment on the shooting until the investigation is complete. Mayor of Indianapolis, Joe Hogsett, tweeted about the arrest. He wrote, "Thanks to IMPD for swift investigative work, as well as the residents, witnesses, and investments in technology that helped ensure detectives were well equipped to gain a full picture of the shooting." IMPD says it still needs to take certain investigative steps, though, before releasing the suspect's photo. Investigators say the 18-year-old accused in a deadly bus stop shooting admits he did it. The claim is in the probable cause affidavit that led to the arrest of Tyreek Radfordell for killing Whiteland High School sophomore Tamario Starks. Radfordell is not yet formally charged, but according to investigators, Radfordell admits he shot Stokes at the bus stop, then fired again as Stokes turned to run away. In the interview, police say Radfordell claimed that Stokes had recently pulled a gun on him. A man from Westfield is accused of trying to kill a city worker who told him to slow down. Police arrested Austin Weir Monday night. He's charged with attempted murder, battery, and pointing a firearm. It happened as Weir drove his pickup toward the intersection of 196th Street and Grassy Branch Road. Investigators say two street workers were trimming grass, and one worker motioned at Weir to slow down. The worker told police that Weir stopped in front of oncoming traffic, got out with a gun, pistol whipped the worker, then stood over him and pulled the trigger twice, but the gun didn't fire. The worker also says Weir tried to reload the gun, then yelled a racial slur as he walked back to his truck. Police say they found Weir with a handgun in the same pickup later that night and arrested him. Planned Parenthood is suing to block Indiana's new abortion ban from taking effect in 2 weeks. The organization and the ACLU filed the lawsuit yesterday in Monroe County. It claims the ban violates the Indiana Constitution's right to privacy and equal privileges protections. Supporters say this lawsuit could restore people's rights. Anti-abortion groups argue previous lawsuits have already ruled on these grounds. The ACLU of Indiana's legal director says it's unclear whether the state constitution protects abortion rights. Republican legislative leaders say they think abortion restrictions will be upheld by the courts. An iTeammate follow-up finds the first steps toward transforming a long-vacant Marsh grocery store. Traders Point Christian Church bought the property at 62nd and Keystone more than 2 years ago. The church now says it started redeveloping it as a campus for the church and for other uses. Traders Point says the property will have an IMPD substation, a financial institution, and other tenants at some point down the road. The church recently redeveloped a former Marsh building in Plainfield, which opened in June. You can read more about Trader Point's plans and iTeammate's original story right now online. You can just find the story in the As Seen On section of wishtv.com. To Elkhart County, where officials confirm more birds have tested positive for avian flu. The Board of Health says it's a hobby flock of chickens, ducks, and geese. It's the 14th flock to test positive this year, but the first since early June. The board will now test birds in nearby flocks. So far, the board says more than 171,000 turkeys and 19,000 ducks have been euthanized this year. And there's a new warning from the feds about an emerging drug trend. The Drug Enforcement Administration says it's seeing a surge of colorful fentanyl pills, or rainbow fentanyl, available all across the country. The agency says it seized the drug in 18 states this month. According to the DEA, the pills are an effort to drive addiction among kids and young adults. The agency says fentanyl remains the deadliest drug threat in the United States. Flooding in Mississippi is making a water crisis in the state's capital worse. Many do not have safe running water in Jackson. The city is already a month into an order to boil water before using it because of cloudy water that could cause belly problems. Local leaders say the city doesn't have the money to repair the old system. Mississippi's governor has declared a state of emergency. He called in the National Guard to hand out bottled water. The governor says the state is willing to put up half of the money needed to repair the water system if the city covers the other half. The Justice Department says it has uncovered evidence of obstruction in the handling of records at the Florida estate of former President Donald Trump. The DOJ claims someone likely concealed and removed classified documents from a storage room before this month's search of Mar-a-Lago. The information is from a new filing ahead of Thursday's hearing to decide if a special master will oversee the case. The filing also includes a picture of documents marked as secret and top secret. DOJ officials say the August 8th search came after months of asking Trump's team to turn over the records. In the search, agents seized 33 boxes that held more than 100 classified records. President Biden is pushing to revive and make permanent an expired federal ban on assault-style weapons. He talked about crime prevention plans during a speech in Pennsylvania yesterday. Biden says Congress needs to go beyond the gun safety legislation that lawmakers passed earlier this summer. Biden also spoke about the threats aimed at the FBI after the search of Trump's Florida estate, calling the threats sickening. United Nations inspectors will have just one day to examine Europe's largest nuclear plant. That's according to a Russian-appointed local official. A team from the International Atomic Energy Agency is on its way to the nuclear power plant. It's been suffering damage from fires and had its reactors knocked offline multiple times due to crossfire from Ukraine and Russian forces. It's unclear when the inspectors will head inside once they get to the city, but the European Union is now set to deliver more than 5 million potassium iodide tablets to Ukraine to protect against potential radiation exposure. Doctors say former president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, has died after a severe and prolonged illness. He served as leader of the Soviet Union from 1985 to when it dissolved in 1991. His time in office was marked by talks with then-President Ronald Reagan that led to partial nuclear disarmament. That includes the iconic call from Reagan to Gorbachev in 1987 to end communism in Europe, saying, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." The Berlin Wall would fall 2 years later. Gorbachev was 91 years old. NASA will try to launch Artemis 1 Saturday. The agency scrubbed the Monday liftoff of the moon mission after trouble with an engine. Initially, the plan was to try again Friday. That's now pushed back another day. The first flight has no astronauts on board, but will test the rocket, capsule, and systems designed to take mankind back to the moon. And today marks 25 years since the death of one of the world's most famous women. Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed in a car crash in a tunnel in Paris. Separate investigations came to different conclusions, one blaming the paparazzi for chasing the car. The other said the photographers were some distance back. Tests also show Diana's driver was drunk. Diana's son, Prince Harry, spoke about her death earlier this week. He says he hopes today is filled with memories of her incredible work and love for the way she did it. To business headlines, more than half of U.S. cities have witnessed double-digit rent increases this month. The rent index showed that the average rent in the United States for a newly listed one-bedroom is now $1,486. That's up 11.8% from August of last year. According to ApartmentList.com, in Indiana, growth is around 13%, and for Indianapolis specifically, it's seen rent increase by 14.5% this past year. Many renters who were already facing high rents are also facing a dire situation as eviction moratoriums begin to end all across the country. Credit scores still sit at all-time highs. The national average credit score stands at an all-time high of 716, unchanged from a year ago, according to a new report from FICO. However, this marks the first time since the Great Recession that scores didn't improve year over year. Royal Caribbean Cruises will begin offering onboard internet via SpaceX's Starlink satellite network. The partnership is an effort to combat historically bad internet connectivity when cruise ships are at sea. As Apple's iPhone 14 event gets closer, rumors continue to swirl around the phone's potential ability to provide emergency communications via a satellite network. Noted analyst Ming-Chi Kuo said that Apple had completed hardware tests for this feature with the iPhone 14, but it would have to negotiate a business model with carriers if it wants to include it. And the USDA is sprinkling fish-flavored vaccines from the sky to fight rabies. The project is focused on preventing the spread of raccoon rabies from the eastern United States into the heartland. The oral vaccine has been found to be safe in more than 60 animal species, says the USDA. This includes domestic dogs and cats. Today, the women's doubles competition starts at the U.S. Open tennis tournament. The event is getting extra attention this year as Serena and Venus Williams compete. The sisters are in on a wild card. Their first match is tomorrow. The Williams sisters have played together in the Open 9 times and won twice in 1999 and in 2009. To the Colts, the 53-man roster is finalized. The team cut 27 players, including veterans Philip Lindsay, Kiki Kuti, and Brandon King. The Colts kept all 3 quarterbacks. Sam Ehlinger made enough noise during the preseason, finishing with 5 touchdowns, including a 45-yard run. The Colts also activated Shaquille Leonard off the PUP, the physically unable to perform list. That means Leonard will not have to sit out the first 4 weeks of the season. However, Coach Reich says that he might not be ready to go for the team in its Week 1 matchup against Houston. And finally, the Roar of Racing returns to Brownsburg. The first round of qualifying, one of drag racing's top events, starts this morning. Lucas Oil Raceway hosts the NHRA-US Nationals. Qualifying round started this morning at 8 o'clock. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.